Thank you for joining us here on News at 10 with me, Brendan Lepore. The increase in the number of COVID-19 cases as of late is due to large-scale screening, especially in areas under the Enhanced Movement Control Order (EMCO). Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government had projected positive cases to increase when the EMCO was enforced in 36 sub-districts in Selangor and 16 localities in Kuala Lumpur. Explaining further, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri said when the government enforces the EMCO, large-scale COVID-19 screening will be conducted, thus increasing the number of infections.
Sebagai contoh di PKPD di sini, saringan telah dibuat. Tadi saya terangkan, saringan telah dibuat di sini dan ramai juga didapati kes positif di PKPD PPR Kerinci. Jadi inilah yang menyebabkan jumlah kes dilihat meningkat kerana kawasan PKPD ini menyumbang kepada jumlah kes ini. Jadi akhirnya akan turun juga.
The Deputy Prime Minister said this when asked to comment on the country recording over 9,000 new cases over the past 2 days. He added that the Health Ministry expects COVID-19 cases to continue to increase and that the next step is to provide facilities including beds in order to treat infected patients. Meanwhile, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri has urged all parties, especially politicians, to stop playing politics and instead focus on helping people who have been affected by the pandemic. He said that with positive cases still high, all parties needed to unite and work together to fight COVID-19.
Jadi janganlah kita berpolitik dalam keadaan sekarang ini kerana rakyat sedang mengalami kesusahan dan mereka memerlukan fokus penuh bukan saja daripada kerajaan tapi juga daripada parti-parti politik supaya kita dapat membantu rakyat. Sekarang ini fokus kita mestilah membantu rakyat yang sedang kesusahan dan dalam masa yang sama strategi untuk menentang COVID ini perlu juga disokong oleh semua rakyat.
In a related development, members of the public who ran out of food or need help are urged to contact the Social Welfare Department Operations Room in their respective districts, which is open for 24 hours. Dato Sri Ismail Sabri said they can also contact the Member of Parliament service centres or refer to their respective state zakat centres for assistance.
Dan juga saya difahamkan banyak masjid dan surau mempunyai gerobok rezeki yang juga menyediakan makanan. Jadi saya berharap supaya jika ada masalah terus ke tempat berkaitan, kita kalau boleh kita tak nak tengok isu yang berkaitan dengan tidak makan 1 hari, 2 hari dan sebagainya.
In the meantime, the Deputy Prime Minister also expressed his gratitude to the people and non-governmental organisations, NGOs, who also helped the government to channel food aid and goods to those in need. He said the government would discuss with NGOs to facilitate their movement, especially in areas placed under EMCO. Members of the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) below the age of 55 may apply for the iCitra withdrawal facility starting tomorrow, 3 days earlier than scheduled. Via iCitra, eligible members are allowed to withdraw up to a maximum of 5,000 ringgit subject to the total combined balance in both account 1 and 2. In a statement today, EPF said the approved withdrawal amount will be paid for a period of up to 5 months, with a fixed monthly payment of 1,000 ringgit per month subject to savings balance. It added that a member is also able to withdraw a minimum monthly amount of 50 ringgit under the iCitra withdrawal facility. According to the EPF, the first payment is expected to be credited into the respective member bank accounts in August 2021. To ease the online-only application process, the retirement fund said members must ensure that their mobile phone number matches the one in EPF's record to receive a one-time password (OTP), in addition to having an active bank account to receive the payment.
We will also also be expanding our vaccination program for essential economic sectors that are operating during phase 1 of the recovery plan. These workers have to physically report for duty and are therefore at risk from COVID transmission. We will be focusing on the manufacturing, transport, construction and plantation sectors first, with a target of vaccinating at least 300,000 workers over the next few weeks.
The Health Ministry recorded 9,105 new positive COVID-19 cases as at noon. The fourth day straight, the infection rate has stayed above the 9,000 mark. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah tweeted today that Selangor continues to register the highest number of cases at 4,682 as the country's most populated state continues to ramp up testing. He added that Kuala Lumpur registered the second highest at 1,247 new cases, as authorities have also increased testing in the Federal Territory. In the same 24-hour period, the Health DG said there were 91 fatalities, bringing the death toll to 6,158. There were also 5,194 recoveries. That puts active cases nationwide at a staggering 87,841. There are still 961 patients in the intensive care units, with 455 requiring ventilation support. The MOH also reported 90 new clusters today, of which 13 are related to workplaces, among them factories, construction sites and a hotel. Earlier today, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the Ministry of Health expects the country's daily COVID-19 cases to stabilize and show a decline in the next 1 to 2 weeks' time. He said the vaccination drive nationwide and containment measures under the first phase of the National Recovery Plan could flatten the curve of the pandemic soon. Retail sector workers will receive their COVID-19 vaccine shots beginning 26 July under the Retail Industry Vaccination Program REVAC at Mid Valley City, Kuala Lumpur. About 186,000 registered frontline workers, including cashiers, sales personnel, restaurant crew, petrol station workers and supermarket staff, are expected to be inoculated through the program. Deputy Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry Dato' Rosul Wahid said so far a total of 1,400 companies have registered to enable their workers to be vaccinated. He said the ministry targets over 500,000 frontline workers in the retail economic sector nationwide to join REVAC.
Ini untuk seluruh negara.
Okey, tapi yang buat dekat Mid Valley tu?
Mid Valley Kelang. Kemudian kita akan buat lagi di tempat-tempat lain yang kita rasakan sesuai, dan kita memohon kepada mereka ataupun player-player yang ingin menjadikan mereka pusat suntikan vaksin untuk ini, mereka boleh mohon kepada kita, disertakan dengan pelan, kemudian kru dan petugas-petugas untuk kita pertimbangkan, dan kita yakin jika cukup syarat kita akan luluskan.
At least 100,000 or 80% of workers in the public transport sector, including e-hailing services in the Klang Valley, are being targeted for COVID-19 vaccination by the end of August. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said the ministry would ensure the target would be met so as to help expedite the process of herd immunity, besides enabling them to serve in the public transportation sector. So far, he said the ministry was satisfied with the increased rates of vaccination for those involved in the transportation sector via large-scale immunization. Datuk Sri Dr. Wee added that the vaccination for this group will continue to be boosted as they, too, are among the frontliners who have been working from the beginning of the movement control order until now.
Kita serahkan senarai kepada pihak CITF, iaitu urus dia untuk kendalikan. Ada kosong dia akan masuk. Jadi kita bagi dia keutamaan, prioriti untuk dia buat vaksin secara dalam community.
He said this after handing over food baskets to the affected residents around the Ayer Hitam parliamentary constituency in Batu Pahat, Johor today. Datuk Sri Dr. Wee said the food baskets were distributed with the assistance of a special team comprising local authority council members and village heads. The Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry, MOSTI, will hold talks with the Saudi Arabian government on the COVID-19 vaccine recognition for Hajj pilgrims. Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Religious Affairs, Dato' Ahmad Marzuq Shari said all the vaccines obtained by the Malaysian government were recognised by the World Health Organization, WHO. Dato' Ahmad Marzuq said the government hopes that its Saudi Arabian counterparts would accept all pilgrims that have been vaccinated with vaccines that are recognised by WHO.
Menteri Mufti sebenarnya pun dah buat kenyataan bahawa dia akan berunding dengan pihak kerajaan Saudi untuk menyelesaikan sedikit isu yang berbangkit. Jadi insya-Allah dalam masa terdekat ini untuk kerajaan Saudi menerima semua vaksin yang diiktiraf oleh WHO. Sebab kita di Malaysia ni kita suntik vaksin itu semua diiktiraf oleh WHO.
Prior to this, it was reported that the Saudi Arabian government would only accept pilgrims who have received either the Pfizer or AstraZeneca vaccines for the Hajj pilgrimage. The Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, has urged Muslims in Selangor to continue performing their prayers at home and constantly pray that the deadly COVID-19 virus will be wiped away. According to a statement uploaded on Selangor Royal Office Facebook page, the Sultan said mosques and surahs in the state would only reopen as usual when new COVID-19 cases continue to decline and a greater percentage of the population has been vaccinated. His Highness is also aware that the people have been urging for the full reopening of houses of worship on social media, but following the alarming rise in daily cases, this is not possible. As such, Sultan Sharafuddin has to stick to the decision on the restricted numbers allowed for religious activities in mosques and surahs, especially with regards to congregational prayers, as this is for the safety of the people. The Sultan regretted that despite the standard operating procedures (SOP) and controls imposed at mosques, the pandemic has continued to rage. This decision was taken after examining and monitoring COVID-19 data and statistics, and the situation is becoming increasingly alarming. And yet to come, man fails in bid to smuggle ketum leaves using trailer. Stay with us. But first, a steering system failure is suspected to be the cause of a collision between a bulk carrier and a cargo ship at Sungai Muar, Johor past midnight today. Johor MMEA Director First Admiral Nurul Hizam Zakaria said that Malta-registered bulk carrier MV Galapagos was reported to have experienced steering system failure, causing it to move to the right and block the route of Great Britain-registered cargo ship MV Zephyr Lumos. In a statement today, First Admiral Nurul Hizam said MV Zephyr Lumos failed to avoid MV Galapagos, causing the collision to happen about 14.1 nautical miles southwest of the Sungai Muar estuary. He noted that MV Zephyr Lumos was on its way to Suez Canal, while MV Galapagos was heading towards India when the collision occurred at 12:03 a.m. today. However, no injuries have been reported among the total of 49 crewmen on both ships. Early investigations by the Johor MMEA showed that there is some damage to MV Galapagos as well as some oil spillage. Both ships have been detained to assist in investigations by the Marine Department and the Environment Department DOE. According to First Admiral Nurul Hizam, MMEA received an emergency signal from MV Zephyr Lumos, while the emergency signal from MV Galapagos was received through the Indonesian National Search and Relief Agency in Pekanbaru. A lorry driver was detained on 7 July in Pendang, Kedah over an attempt to transport 2.1 tons of ketum leaves from Kedah to Klang Valley using a trailer. Pendang Police Chief DSP Aris Syam Hameza said following a tip-off on the illegal activity, a team was dispatched from the Sungai Tiang and Pendang police stations, which then detained the local driver at a road in Batu Menunggul. Inspections by the team found 102 boxes of various sizes containing ketum leaves weighing 2,108 kilograms. The suspect, who is in his 30s, was believed to have used his employer's lorry without permission on his days off to transport the leaves.
Jadi kita dapati suspek cuba mengaburi pihak polis dengan memasukkan daun ketum ke dalam kotak dengan berpendapat bahawanya kita tidak dapat mengesan bahawa aktiviti salah dilakukan oleh suspek.
He added that early investigation revealed that the suspect would get 7,000 ringgit from a ketum dealer in Sungai Tiang in return for sending the supply to the Sungai Buloh Plaza toll. A buyer would then collect the boxes and distribute the ketum leaves around Klang Valley. The suspect is now under remand for further investigations. An Indonesian woman believed to be a victim of forced labour exploitation by her employer was rescued in an operation carried out in Taiping, Perak on Friday. According to the Human Resources Ministry, the rescue operation was carried out following a complaint and information from the Indonesian Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. In cooperation with the Peninsular Malaysia Labour Department, the Council of Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Task Force and the police. The ministry in a statement said the woman was brought into Malaysia by an agent who informed her that she would work as a helper and was promised a salary of 1,000 ringgit. The employer was said to be taking advantage by manipulating the victim, who did not have a valid work permit and was categorized as an illegal immigrant. The 36-year-old woman was beaten by her employer due to dissatisfaction with her work and was not given food if she express a desire to return to her country of origin or stop working for her employer. The victim is now placed at the Central Zone shelter after being given an interim protection order by the Taiping Magistrates Court for a period of 21 days until 30th July. Communications and Multimedia Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah urged the media on various platforms including television, radio, print and online to intensify efforts to identify and uncover fake news. He hoped that the media would enhance efforts to raise awareness on the threat of fake news as well as measures to prevent such matters. In a statement, Dato' Saifuddin said there has been an increase in the spread of false information recently, including about the COVID-19 pandemic, vaccination, social and political issues. He said the situation can cause confusion and concerns among the public and affect efforts to combat the spread of the pandemic effectively. He noted that in the context of disseminating information, the media not only has the role of reporting accurate news but also protects the people from false news that could potentially undermine the government's efforts in combating COVID-19. The minister added that the ministry as well as several agencies have acted proactively in curbing the increase in fake news. Among them is the monitoring by the ministry's quick response team since March last year, which has debunked 464 fake news. The Emergency Essential Powers No. 2 Ordinance of 2021 was also enforced from March this year to prevent and take action against the spread of fake news about COVID-19 and health. Still to come, Australia records first death in Sydney virus outbreak. Stay with us. Southwest China's Sichuan province has been severely impacted by rain-triggered floods over the weekend, with water levels rising, rivers drenching residential areas and a landslide trapping residents. The Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters of Sichuan today launched an emergency response for flood control at Level 3, as floods had been observed across the province to affect over 120,000 people since Friday. The affected cities have so far included Dazhou, Pachong, Nanzhong, Guangyuan, Ziyang and the provincial capital Chengdu. Disaster relief task forces are in place across Sichuan to ensure people's safety amid the seasonal flooding. Flooding trapped some local residents in Dazhou city as firefighters worked through the night to rescue and relocate people. Rain-triggered floods have submerged some urban streets in the lower areas of the Qixian County in Dazhou. Correspondingly, local authorities have activated the Level 1 emergency response for flood control to minimize the public loss. The floods mainly came out of the Tijiang section of a tributary of the Yangtze River, as the continuous rainfall raised the water level of the upper stream of Tijiang River. At present, the water level continues to increase in the river, and it's anticipated to reach its peak tonight. Australia announced its first coronavirus-related death in the current Sydney virus outbreak today as the country's biggest city struggles to bring the Delta variant under control. The woman in her 90s died Saturday, hours after testing positive for COVID-19, and was also the first death from a locally acquired infection in Australia this year. It came as authorities announced a record 77 new cases and warned that numbers were expected to spike above 100 on Monday.
I'll be shocked if it's less than 100 this time tomorrow of additional new cases. So we can't stress enough the importance of not only following the rules, but also realising the risk that the people who will suffer the most is, if you don't worry about yourself, that's fine. Even though it's affecting people of all age groups. If you don't worry about yourself, that's your decision. But think about your closest family members, your closest people in your life. They're the people that are most impacted.
Sydney is now in its third week of lockdown, but the number of new cases continues to grow among a population that is overwhelmingly unvaccinated. Lockdown rules were tightened Friday, and Berejiklian warned that stay-at-home orders were expected to remain in place unless there was a dramatic turnaround. Sydney has recorded 566 new infections since the beginning of the outbreak mid-June. The government launched a new advertising campaign Sunday encouraging people to, quote, arm yourself against COVID-19 by getting jabbed, though vaccines are yet to be offered to most under 40s. Bulgarians went to the polls for a second time in 3 months today, hoping the political parties can this time agree on a stable government coalition. The 12,000 polling stations opened at 7 a.m. and closed at 8 p.m. for the 6.7 million eligible voters to elect 240 lawmakers. Latest opinion polls suggest that the rerun could produce similar results, but also a further drop in support for former Prime Minister Boyko Borisov's GERB party, after the current caretaker government made public allegations of widespread corruption during his rule. The anti-corruption campaign of Borisov's opponent was additionally boosted by the sanctions the U.S. Treasury imposed last month against several Bulgarian public officials and business leaders for corruption. Polls suggest a tight race between Borisov's party, which came first in April with over 26% of the vote, and its main rival, the anti-elite There is Such a People, led by popular TV entertainer Slavy Trifonov. And in sports, England ready to make history in Euro final as Italy aim to spoil the party. Superstar Lionel Messi won his first trophy with his national team as Angel Di Maria's goal gave Argentina a 1-0 win over host Brazil in the Copa America final today. Now, the victory at Rio de Janeiro's Maracanã Stadium ended Argentina's 28-year wait for a major trophy and also ended Brazil's unbeaten home record that stretched back more than 2,500 days. Argentina had last tasted success at a major tournament in 1993 when the great Gabriel Batistuta's brace gave them a 2-1 win over Mexico in the Copa final in Ecuador. While it was the first time in 6 editions playing at home that Brazil had failed to lift the trophy, Argentina edged a brutal and fractious affair thanks to Di Maria's goal on 22nd minutes. The 33-year-old winger ran onto Rodrigo de Paul's sumptuous through ball to lob Brazil goalkeeper Ederson with a first-time finish. Di Maria was named the man of the match. Messi could have wrapped up the win 2 minutes from time, but slipped when clean through with only Ederson to beat. The final was the first match of the tournament to allow in fans as 7,800 took their seats after authorities partially lifted pandemic restrictions. England captain Harry Kane says he is peaking at just the right time to win his battle with Italy's amazing defensive warriors Giorgio Chiellini and Leonardo Bonucci in Euro 2020 final. Kane will lead England's bid to win their first major title since the 1966 World Cup, when Gareth Southgate's side faces the Italians at Wembley early tomorrow. After a slow start to the tournament, Kane has hit top form in the knockout stages, and the Tottenham strikers' duel with Italy's centre-backs Chiellini and Bonucci will be the key contest at Wembley.
They're two amazing defenders. They've had great experience over their careers in big matches. Obviously, I've been fortunate enough to play against them before, and as a striker, I want to be playing against the best centre-backs in the world, and those two are definitely up there. But of course, this game is not just about me and the two centre-backs. The game is about England versus Italy, and we feel like we've got a great belief in the team. We've got a great strength in the squad.
Aided by Raheem Sterling and his fellow forwards, Kane is confident England can win the penalty area fight for supremacy. England's historic run to their first European Championship final has set the nation into a frenzy. With 60,000 fans set to back them at Wembley, while millions more watch on television, there is a danger the huge expectations on the England team might prove debilitating. But Kane is adamant Southgate. Now, standing in England's way are a battle-hardened Italy side who have restored the nation's pride after failing to qualify for the 2018 World Cup. The Azzurri are on a national record 33-match unbeaten run under coach Roberto Mancini, who has spent time in England both as a player and manager. This will be their third game of the tournament at Wembley, where they beat Austria 2-1 in extra time in last 16 and Spain on penalties in a gripping semi-final on Tuesday.
Domani serviranno entrambe le cose, perché senza cuore caldo non sopravvivi a una finale a Wembley contro l'Inghilterra. Senza la testa fredda neanche, perché ci saranno momenti in cui bisognerà osare, in cui bisognerà andare, ci saranno momenti in cui bisognerà essere lucidi e avere sempre la situazione sotto controllo. È impensabile pensare di avere il controllo della partita per 90 minuti, men che mai lo sarà domani, e quindi serviranno queste caratteristiche al massimo, perché è una finale e per vincerla bisogna veramente curare alla perfezione tutti i dettagli.
Italy had the backing of around 11,000 British-based fans at the semi-final, and the supporters will once again be there for the final. Reports in Italy said that 6,500 tickets had been sold to fans based in Britain, and that number would be bolstered by 1,000 more who will fly into the country for the game, including President Sergio Mattarella. That concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, politicians urged to focus on helping the people. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Till then, I'm Brendan Lepol. Do stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM. Stay safe and good night.